Not only is he an incredible producer, he's a content creator that has inspired thousands of other producers to think outside the box when it comes to self-promotion. If you have a favorite rapper on TikTok, chances are he's produced for them. He's an incredible musician, performer, and an all-around great person. Please welcome Matty Beats.
Matty, what's up?
Woo! Wow, I feel so humbled by that intro. Wow, that made me feel so good. Appreciate you guys.
Hey, we're humbled that you're talking with us. Thanks so much for taking the time. You're a busy dude.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
So, Matty, you just finished a collaboration with BeatStars, correct?
Yeah, super hype on that.
How did that come about? What was that like?
So I've been using BeatStars to sell my beats for, 5 years now. And I connected with Mike Trampy, who's one of the people over at BeatStars. He just reached out and he was like, hey, we're doing this dual form section thing where we link an artist and a producer. We bring them to the studio. You guys make a song and then we put it out. And I think he found me just through like social media. So
That's
it's just
amazing.
through content and he just found me that way and reached out. But BeatStars also has a publishing side of their business now where they linked with Sony. So I signed a publishing deal with them. So they're like putting out the record, promoting it. But it was super cool. Like they flew me out to Philly. We went in a nice studio, like did a music video kind of thing for it. But it's just crazy to me. Like BeatStars, the biggest beat selling platform, like values me, reaches out to me. It's like never would have expected this kind of stuff like a couple years ago when I was just in my room making beats.
I feel like for a producer, that must be like the ultimate form of validation.
Totally.
Like this is the #1 platform. We want you.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Like thinking back, like I never would have expected any of this stuff to happen. I just loved music and was passionate about it. And to like tell myself a couple years ago, like, yo, you're going to be linking with BeatStars, Connor Price, like all of these things that have happened, like would have blown my mind. Never would have expected it. It's just crazy. And I'm just another normal kid making beats. Like it's no different than anyone else.
Congratulations, man. That's incredible.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
I'd love to just take it back to the very start. How did you get started in music? What then made you transition into producing for hip hop? Start us out.
So originally I got into music from playing guitar. I think I was 13 and my uncle always played guitar and he gifted me like an old 80s Charvel guitar for my birthday one year. And I just started playing and I used to like hate rap. I used to into like classic rock. I was like an emo, like skateboard kid, wore all black. I used to argue with kids in middle school, like, oh, like rap doesn't have any musical value. It's just like loops, like not a lot of melody. So I used to listen to like a lot of 60s and 70s stuff. And so I was playing guitar. And then Cam, my manager and like best friend from day one, who you guys met, he actually kind of got me into rap a little bit. I remember like when I met him, we were on the back of the bus going to a field trip in middle school. And he showed me, I think it was Let's Go by Lil Jon. It's like the crazy, Let's Go. But it's like a sample of an Ozzy Osbourne Crazy Train song.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, oh, that's dope. And I just started to eventually like rap more. And then fast forward into high school, I was in the jazz band, like playing guitar, and my high school was super renowned for its music programs. There's a lot of super talented musicians, and we started a band, like a live hip hop band. So Cam was a rapper, and then we had 2 other MCs, a violin player, trumpet player, keyboard. I played guitar, like a full 9-piece band, and we were able to get some cool opportunities like opening up for people in Boston because that's where I grew up. And so we got to play open up for Mac Miller, Chris Webby, members of Wu-Tang Clan, Aloe Black. Yeah. And that was like crazy.
So you've met Mac Miller.
I didn't like meet him per se, but we just like I just opened up for him for one of his shows.
Really cool.
That's incredible. That's so cool. I never knew you were in a band.
Yeah, it was CFP the band. I think we still have like some stuff on YouTube.
I'm gonna have to look it up.
What did that
after
stand
this.
for? Was there significance to CFP?
Yeah, so it was Constant Flow Producers.
Hey, cool.
The band, yeah. But yeah, that was crazy. I remember just like a little side story. One of our like frontman singers was this dude Mike Chang, and he actually still does music, Michael June. And it was the Mac Miller show, which was like our second show, and it was sold out. And I just remember like playing our first song, and he goes up to the front of the stage and like puts his foot on like the PA speakers, like right in the front. And there were all these girls in the front row just screaming, like trying to touch him. They're like, "Oh my God." And I was like, this is crazy. Like, what is going on? Right. But yeah, so then we did that for like a year or two, and then we all went to college and kind of had to go our separate ways. But that's when I found making beats. I was like, oh, I'm not in a band. And I discovered FL Studio. And I was like, whoa, like I can be my own band. Like I can do all the instruments myself. Right. And then so that was the beginning of college when I started making beats.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So when did you start, because we were introduced to you through TikTok. When did you start posting on TikTok? And were you nervous to start posting on TikTok?
Yeah, so I started posting on TikTok probably now it's been like a year and a half, I want to say.
Okay, so you're still like very new to it.
Yeah, and I actually started like really going hard on the TikTok grind because I got some opportunity to be in their, I forget what it's called, the education program. They were basically paying content creators to make like educational content. So for me, it was like doing tutorials and tips that was music production related. But I did like 50 videos in, I don't know, like 2 months. And,
that's great.
And like some of them started to get some traction. I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm just going to keep going with this. And then I like figured out the duet feature on TikTok, and not really many producers were using it. So I started to just be like, hey, rappers, like duet this, like drop 8 bars. And I think like the 3rd or 4th video got like 2 million views. Wow. And it was probably, I don't know, like a month or two, I'd gotten like over 100,000 followers just from that. And crazy. And that's, provided me so many opportunities to link with you, like Nick D, all these other people. It's,
I got to say, it's really impressive because especially on TikTok, there's so many producers. Yeah. And it's hard to make yourself stand out. And you do that so well. You know, you've got your own personality and style. Was that something from the very start that you were consciously trying to do? Like, I need to kind of put my own brand on this? Or did it just sort of happen?
Yeah, I think I definitely noticed like the value of differentiating yourself and like bringing energy and charisma to content to like make it more entertaining. It was a particular moment though. There's this producer, Ed Talenti, and he had a YouTube video on branding yourself as a music producer. And he made some point about like, hey, no one's going to want to watch like a producer doing a beat video who's just like hitting the pads super soft. Doesn't seem like he's really enjoying it. So kind of like exaggerate like the charisma and the energy in the videos. And I definitely took that to heart. And like, I didn't have it all figured out at first. Like you can scroll back like on my Instagram and see like the first beat videos, they weren't good. But you definitely have to start somewhere. And as I started going along, I kind of figured out what was working. And I think a lot of people get caught up on content too, because they're trying to be like, oh, I need to look cool. Like I want to do this. But for me, I just kind of like embraced almost my weaknesses in a way, quote unquote. Like
I wouldn't call them weaknesses, more like maybe quirks.
Yeah, exactly.
Just being yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just like being yourself, like, and I think a lot of times like people's weaknesses, if you can harness them, like for me being kind of goofy and awkward, like I just embraced that, and that became now my strength, and also like a way to kind of differentiate myself.
Yeah.
But
I think your career is
yeah.
really cool for other producers to see, because I feel like in the hip hop world especially, there's this stigma that producers and rappers need to be so cool. Like straight face, they're the shit all the time. But the fact that you've gotten to be where you are just by being goofy and yourself, and you've gotten to work with such great artists, it's a message to younger producers. Like, don't just try and fit in some kind of mold. Like,
that's a great point.
Yeah.
So that's what I especially love about you. Have you ever struggled and had to deal with like hate comments or trolls on social media? And if so, how do you handle that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Definitely have. Particularly like people hating, like saying, oh, you're cringy, like you're trying too hard. I get a lot of comments like about my hair, like, oh, like Justin Bieber, like hair, whatever. But like, regardless of what the hate comments are, like if you kind of stoop to their level and respond with like a negative comment, like I don't think that's the way to approach it. Typically, I'll just try to kill people with kindness and just respond and be like, just be nice. If you respond with negativity, I feel like it never works. But it definitely, like, they get to me. Like, I see one negative comment out of like 1,000, and like that's the one I'll focus on, and like kind of boils my blood sometimes. Yeah.
One thing I'm curious about is when you are reaching out to artists, if you have an artist that you want to work with, do you just kind of straight DM like, yo, what's up? I'd love to work with you. What's kind of your way of wanting to connect with somebody? For other producers out there who might have an artist they want to work with and they don't know how to approach that, what's your way to do that?
I think like first step, just like genuinely showing love. Right. Like if you just kind of reach out and you're like, hey, like here's some beats, like check them out here. Like would love to work with you. Like that's cool, and that can work sometimes. But I don't know. Like I think there's a psychological thing of it's like the concept of reciprocity. Like where if you say something nice, like genuinely, and you compliment them, they feel more inclined to like kind of be nice back, and they're more receptive to you. So usually like my first message, like I'll say something very specific about a song and be like, hey, like this song, like I really liked this way, like how you did that flow. Awesome. Then usually I'll wait for them to respond and be like, I would love to work with you, kind of thing.
So as a producer, it's very important when reaching out to an artist, make sure you know their catalog before you're reaching out.
Yeah.
Is what you're trying to say?
It's definitely a great point, because I can definitely, as an artist who has producers DM me all the time, a lot of times I can tell it's like a copy and paste that they've sent to probably 100 other artists that day. Yeah. So, and that's so true. I really haven't remembered recently a time when somebody pointed out something specific about a song or a line, because if they did that, it would be like, he or she is listening. Like they actually care about the music. They've taken this effort. Now I feel like I want to connect with them and check out their stuff. So it's really smart to take that approach. I like that.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to like just trying to provide value in any way. And a lot of people think of that in terms of like tangible things, but like just providing a compliment or being nice is also like a way of kind of providing value.
Amazing. Yeah, very smart.
From a technical standpoint, just to help other producers out there who are just getting started, what program do you use to make your beats? And what would you recommend to someone who's just starting out, who's in the learning stages of producing? Yeah.
So I use Pro Tools to make beats.
Now that's really uncommon, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Speak on
that. So originally when I started making beats, I downloaded FL Studio, and I just had like a demo version, and I used that for like 2 months. I was like, I really like this. I want to, buy a DAW, which is the software to make beats. And so I went to Guitar Center, and I was like, hey, what's the best DAW to make, to use for making beats? And they're like, oh, well, Pro Tools is like the industry standard. That's in every recording studio you go into. So I was like, okay, cool. Like I'll get that. So I just learned it, and now I've kind of dove in too deep to like want to go back and learn a new software. But I would recommend to producers starting out, FL Studio is definitely, I feel like, one of the easiest to learn and has the capability of, they're all pretty much the same as far as what you can do with them. But Ableton is also really fire. For a like producer standpoint, like sampling and different things you can do with the workflow, Ableton I feel like is my favorite, at least.
Awesome.
So FL Studio and Ableton I would recommend.
Do you ever get like a producer's version of writer's block?
I was going to ask something like that.
Yeah, Connor might struggle with coming up with lyrics. Do you ever just like, I have no beat ideas? What do you do to combat that if you ever experience it?
Yeah, that's like every day. It's really hard, because like what we do creatively is so dependent on inspiration and like feeling a vibe. So just like forcing yourself to go in and make something, like it doesn't always come out the best. But for me, I feel like I always capture the most inspiration from hearing other songs, and then like oh, that's a cool idea, and then kind of like taking inspiration from it and making it my own. So I'll go on like New Music Friday or Discover Weekly on Spotify and just kind of go through songs. Or if like you like a certain artist, just go on like their go-to radio on Spotify where it shows similar stuff. And then just listen to stuff. And then like eventually a couple songs and I'm like, oh, that's dope. So that's one way. The other way is like going through melodies and loops on like sample websites. It's like Splice or Waves.com, TrackLib, or even like YouTube, like sample playlists they have on there, just to like try to find something that sparks some inspiration. So listening to songs and going through samples.
I once saw a TikTok that you made of you like in bed, you're eating chips, and then you see a commercial, and something in the commercial sparked. Has that ever happened, or was that just like a comedic skit for TikTok?
No, that definitely happens too. Like, I get really inspired by like sounds. So it could be like, I don't even know of an example, but like
a bag of chips opening.
Yeah, exactly. Like it could be something as simple as that, where I'm like, oh, that's cool. Right. And then like I'll just start to get like a beat in my head, like, or whatever. But it definitely works like that too. Like it could be any random sound, and just something pops in my head from it.
And then what usually comes first for you? Is it the drums? Is it the melody? Is it a certain instrument? Is it a sound? What's usually that first thing?
It's always the melody for me. I always start with melody and then build drums from that. But it could also be like a certain preset like instrument that I'm using. Like if I hear the tone of that instrument, I'm like, oh, that's cool, and then it'll spark an idea for a melody. But always melody first for me, typically.
Do you create your own melodies and samples, or do you use other samples that you find online?
I would say it's probably about half and half. Like melodies have never been my strong suit, like making them myself, but I've definitely gotten more comfortable like the past year or so doing like my own melodies.
And do you feel like your experience, especially knowing guitar, has helped you a lot as far as production goes? Because I know obviously everything now is done with a keyboard on a computer, but do you ever use live guitar in your music? How has that influenced you?
Yeah, definitely. Guitar is like my bread and butter, like the first thing that got me into music, like what I love the most. So a lot of my ideas start with guitar, and that's definitely been like one of my differentiating like things to help me stand out too, is playing guitar. So yeah, a lot of guitar tracks for sure.
That's awesome.
When it comes to creating content, do you film all your own stuff? Does Cam help you? Like, how do you go about creating a typical TikTok?
Yeah, so I film most of my stuff. Sometimes I'll like ask for Cam's help and be like, hey, like, can you help me with a beat video? and he'll help film sometimes. But that's also like something that's been super helpful for me, is being able to film all my own stuff, edit it. So I think it was probably 3 years ago, I started like seeing people's beat videos, and I was just like kind of brainstorming, like, how can I stand out? How can I like, make better content? And there's probably a million people that make better beats than me, but I definitely noticed like the value of having high quality content to kind of like compensate and make you stand out a little bit more. So I just like bought a DSLR camera and then got an editing program. I actually use After Effects too, which is a little bit
weird.
different.
You use After Effects to edit and Pro Tools to make beats. You're just like going completely reverse.
It was also like a similar situation of like I just kind of downloaded After Effects and didn't know what I was doing in the beginning. And then I just got used to it. So I know Premiere is pretty much the same too.
That explains how you do all those cool transitions and like glitch effects and
stuff. You have
the
best glitches and effects. I'm like, how did he edit that?
I appreciate it. There's actually a free preset pack called Motion Bro. And that's what I use for all the transitions. And they're super easy. You can just like drag and drop.
Now, do you have like a specific schedule and routine that you follow for TikTok? Like I need to put out this many amount of posts a week. Like how do you approach that?
I don't have anything like a very strict schedule for that kind of stuff, but I definitely try to post basically every day. But I usually do like 4 or 5 times a week. And that's one of my weaknesses too, is just like organization, scheduling, and being efficient. This whiteboard right here is like,
I love it.
Basically what
Connor
I use.
Has to have he has to have the same thing.
Yeah.
I need a to-do list. I need all that stuff, or else I don't know what to do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. Like I first thing I do when I start my day is like just go in the whiteboard, write everything I have to do for the day. Right. And I notice too, when I don't do that, like I'm less efficient and I get less done.
Yeah. Would you say that TikTok has been the #1 platform for you as far as like promoting your music and getting your brand out there?
Yeah, definitely. I probably I was going hard on Instagram for probably almost 3 years.
Yeah.
And got like 30,000 followers on there. And then
that was pre-TikTok?
Yeah, that was before TikTok.
Oh, that's impressive. Okay.
And then TikTok like started doing it. It was like a matter of months, like over 100,000. And
So this is your sign. If you're a producer and you're too scared or you think you're too cool to post on TikTok,
never.
Do it now, because it's a once in a lifetime opportunity for artists, producers,
and I feel
any
like it's,
content creator.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off. I feel like it's definitely in its prime right now. Like the fact that you could post something and have 100 followers, and if it's the right song and it catches the right algorithm, you wake up to a video with 1 million views. Something similar happened to me when I started, and just like you, it was like I had 100,000 followers in the span of what was it? The first.
It was like 10 hours.
Yeah. No, 100,000 followers in like the first week or 2 weeks.
It was. Well, the first few weeks, nothing hit, and then this one video went viral, and overnight it was like 100,000, and I was like, "This is crazy."
It was that quick. Yeah, no. And that stuff doesn't last forever. So yeah, I definitely recommend catch it while it's in its prime right now, because the organic reach is just incredible.
So, Matty, in your opinion, what percentage of importance would you say is creating the beat, like a good beat, versus promotion? Because like it's not a case of if you create it, they will come. Like people have to find you.
Yeah, I think the foundation is always like starting with something like the music has to be good. But that's only one step. I would say it's like a 50-50 kind of thing. Like if you make the greatest song ever, like if you don't make content around it and like have a marketing plan and a way to get exposure to it, then it's kind of worthless. So like definitely I've put a lot of focus into like content creation, marketing, like networking, and that whole other side of things. I think that's just as important as the music nowadays, and like necessary.
That's awesome. Not to put you on the spot, but let's say someone is just starting TikTok today, they're a producer. What would be your top 3 pieces of advice? Like, don't go into TikTok without these 3 pieces of advice.
I would say, number 1, just putting yourself out there. I think like the biggest obstacle people get caught up on is just like, what kind of content am I going to post? Like, how am I going to look cool? What am I going to do? But like with anything else, you have to start somewhere, and like just putting out content, it's not going to be the best at first, but that's the way you're going to learn and get better at it. So I would just say
just
like,
do it.
Just start.
Yeah, just do it. Don't let like all the overthinking and like the doubts in your head get to you. Just start. And make that commitment. Be like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to post a video. If it's cool or not, like I'm going to post a video. So start, I would say, would be the number 1 thing. And kind of along with that, like don't overthink it. Like don't let your head get to you too much. And then 2, I would say, trying to think of things that are genuine to yourself that you can use to differentiate. So for me, it was being like kind of goofy and silly in my videos, charismatic, and then like kind of cool, like high quality videos with interactive effects. So just kind of thinking of things that like could make you stand out. But along with that, I would say like referencing, kind of looking at what other people are doing and what works, but how to make it your own.
So get inspired, but don't steal.
Yeah. Exactly. Get inspired, don't steal, and think of a way you can differentiate yourself to make yourself stand out. And then I would say 3 for TikTok, paying attention to like trends and things that are happening. Like if there's a song that just comes out, like you can be the first to remix it, paying attention to what hashtags and what sounds are trending. Because there's definitely, things you can latch onto that are trending that can get you exposure to. And TikTok's big with that stuff.
That's awesome. And then in terms of TikTok, I feel like it's such a mental game too, where you have to have mental strength, because you'll go viral one day and then the next 5 videos will get like 100 views. That could be really discouraging to some people, to the point of, I'm going to stop. Have you ever experienced that, and how do you get over that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm still trying to figure that out, honestly, because I suffer from that all the time. Because TikTok, you're right, it's like you can get 1 million views, and then the next day a video can get like a couple 100 views or 1,000. And I actually just saw a video yesterday of this producer, and he was talking about not getting so attached to the results. Like, you put in an action and then like next day the results might not be what you want, but just thinking about it like more long term. Because I think that's what happened with me too, is like I put out hundreds of videos and like none of them did well, but then all of a sudden one did. And like if I hadn't put out all those videos that didn't do as well before, I probably never would have gotten the one viral video. So think about it from like a long-term perspective, as opposed to being so caught up on like the short-term results, because if you keep being consistent, like it will pay off eventually.
I like that. One thing I wanted to touch on earlier was you were mentioning Cam, who is your manager. Yeah. At what point, because I think it's such a unique thing for producers. It's something I ask artists a lot, but never to producers. Yeah. At what point should a producer start thinking about growing their team? And for you right now, it's a manager. Like, what made you think, okay, I need that extra person? And then more specifically, what does that extra person allow you to do that you couldn't do prior?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say like it's time to think about growing your team and bringing on more people when you can't do everything yourself. I think people have a misconception of like, oh, I need a manager because I need someone that's going to do like marketing and all the business stuff and the networking and but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be doing that stuff yourself. Like you should do all of that stuff yourself first, but then when it becomes too overwhelming where you don't have enough time to juggle all of it, that's kind of when you bring on more people. The situation with me and my manager, Cam, he's just been my best friend my whole life. And he's been like helping me do this before he had like an official title of manager anyway. But specifically for him, he kind of started from like a sales perspective. So he like started and he was on like a commission base. So any like business he would bring in from beats he sold, he would get a commission on. So then
that's cool.
Like
that is cool.
I kind of, still did like all my sales stuff and marketing and everything I was doing, but just bringing him on just added to that and like gave him value because he was getting money from it. And that's also, I think, something a little bit different, like how we've approached like selling beats and having a music production business. That's different than most producers. Like we kind of took on a traditional sales process. So like Cam will like do huge email scrapes to find leads, like just go through DMs, go to like repost pages of like Instagram pages that post rappers. And those are also good places to find like leads of people that would want to buy beats too, because they're paying for promo to get on these pages.
That's really cool.
That's good insight. Yeah.
But yeah, so basically he'll hit people up and like we use kind of the same strategy of like providing value, like offering a compliment, something very genuine, kind of connect with them first. And then like having the content's helpful too, because they see like, oh wow, Matty Beats, like your videos are cool. Like I definitely want to work with you. So that's another like helpful piece for them being more receptive to you. But yeah, then we get them like on an actual phone call. Like once he qualifies them, sees they're interested in something, we'll get them on a phone call and like basically have a sales call. Like they don't, it doesn't seem that way to them.
Sure.
But
there goes the to-do list. Perfect timing. For those that aren't watching right now,
so it's
Matty's
like
to-do list.
That's really unique because I feel like we had a similar change in thought where we're like, we need to start treating your music like it's a physical product that we're trying to sell. Because I come from a marketing background. So it's like, I don't know how to market music. And Connor's like, just imagine it's a vacuum and you need to sell this vacuum. How would you do that? So you guys are doing the same thing with your beats. You're treating your art as though it's a product. That's really cool.
Yeah, appreciate that. Another thing I would add too is like, at least from like my Instagram growth and stuff, like I put a lot of time into learning like Facebook ads and running ads to like gain followers and like some to sell beats. And that's been super important for my growth and selling beats too.
So what's a specific example of an ad that you would run as a producer? Is it a piece of content of you making a beat? Is it a song that you produce? Like give me an example of a specific ad that you would run.
So it's typically just like the content, like the beat videos I do, and I'll run an ad on them. And it's funny, like I've done split testing where I just have like just me like making the beat with not like very much of a call to action on it. And then I'll have the same exact video, and I'll do like text that says like, "Is Matty Beats the next big producer?" Like, or like, "Who is Matty Beats?" ? And like those
Create
ads
some intrigue.
You're right. Those ads always do better. But yeah, and I don't target for most of my ads. Like, I'm just trying to get followers. So like, I found that targeting people, because Facebook ads, like, there's cheaper countries to run your ads in as opposed to others. So like US and Canada are going to be more expensive than like Brazil and Mexico or China, like whatever. And you can look up all that info on Google. So I started running ads to like cheaper countries, because if I'm not trying to target them to buy anything, then it doesn't really matter where they're from. And for whatever reason, I've found, specifically for me at least, people in India and Mexico are like way more likely to engage and just be like interactive and leaving like more comments. But I kind of looked at it as like a snowball effect. Like, I get all of these followers from like cheaper countries, and they're engaging, and then it becomes like a snowball effect with the algorithm, where it's like, oh, more people are commenting, like, let's show this content to more people.
Or people from the US will see that you have a bunch of followers, and then they'll want to jump on the bandwagon. It's like...
Yeah. It's definitely like a social proof thing too, where just like having the numbers and stuff is helpful.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I feel like I forget what the original question was. It went off on a tangent on Facebook.
No, it's great.
Whatever we were talking about, that was a great answer.
It was a great answer.
In terms of... So there's so many ways to monetize art and beats and raps.
Yeah.
So I think you just did a recent collaboration with, was it Samsung, the laptops?
Yeah.
Yes. So you did that. How can other producers find deals like that? Did Cam reach out? Did they approach you? How did that come to fruition?
Yeah. I've definitely found it to be kind of difficult to prospect like sponsorship or like promo deals. For me, almost all the time it's them inquiring and reaching out to me. But that all comes from like the content. Once you build up your content, that's like the way to go to get those kind of things. But Cam and I have been doing a campaign like the past couple months, trying to reach out to more companies like us directly. And it hasn't been too successful, but I would say like the number one thing is just like having content, having an audience already, because that's what they're looking for. They want like, you know, a big audience and someone that makes good content to promote their stuff. So if you have that, then they're going to start reaching out to you anyway.
Got it. So content is king, the cliche saying.
Yeah.
It always comes back around.
It really is true. Yeah.
So what is one of your large goals that you have, whether it's like a 2-year plan or a 5-year plan? Like, what is something that you have ahead of you that you really want to achieve?
I think for me, it's like kind of building out my Spotify and like Apple Music, like me as a music producer, kind of like how DJ Khaled does it, where like he has his own album, but it's like featuring other artists. Like, I really want to be able to do that and build that out more, which I think you were like my first like official like big artist co-release.
Oh, awesome.
Which is awesome. Yeah.
That was really cool because we did release that as Matty and Connor Price. So you were a primary artist on the song. I was a primary artist on the song. So it showed up on your Spotify and my Spotify.
You should definitely make a whole album of that. It's like in 2022, I think you should do that 100%.
It's a great idea.
Yeah. So that's one of my big goals for sure. And then I want to like honestly get out of like being dependent on beat sales, like selling leases here and there, custom beats here, and just kind of focus on working with artists like I genuinely love and want to work with. Because it's been tough, honestly, for me, like, because when it's a business now, like anything that comes in, like I kind of have to take, because like I'm like, oh, I have to pay rent next month. Like I've got to take this deal to do this custom beat for this person or sell this beat. And like it's kind of killed a little bit of my inspiration or just like creativity, I feel like. So I definitely want to get out of that a little bit more, and then just like shift to making music and working with the people that I really want to work with.
So you want to be able to say no to someone.
Yeah, exactly.
And feel good about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah. Who are 3 artists that you haven't worked with that you'd like to?
I would say Jack Harlow.
Nice.
This artist Aries. He also like is crazy on production. He's kind of like alternative rock, like melodic singing. And then I would say Jairus Johnson. Actually, I really like his stuff too.
Oh, cool.
I have to look him up.
Yeah, he's like another TikTok guy that just blew up this past year.
That's great.
But yeah, those 3 for sure.
Do you have any other questions? If not, I just want to ask him if he has any projects coming up that we should look out for, where people can find him.
No, that was great.
What projects do you have coming up, if any, and where can people find you? How can people support you? And if anyone wants to work with you, how can they work with you?
Appreciate it. Yeah. So, I guess projects coming up. I plan on starting to stream on Twitch in the beginning of 2022, which I'm super hype on.
I actually just did my first Twitch stream the other night, and it went really well.
Nice.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm going to now like kind of nerd out a bit about it.
I'm curious to hear about that.
So the way that I, and I think you should do this too, the way that I got watchers to my Twitch stream, because I started from scratch, is I went live on TikTok. And then in the background on my whiteboard, I had my Twitch, twitch.tv/ConnorPriceMusic. So people who saw me live on TikTok realized, he's streaming on Twitch. And what I was doing on Twitch was I was reacting to all the duets to my EGOT challenge. So this is actually great. You would kill it in this. If you put out one of your many, challenges and then say, hey, I'm going to go live on Twitch and react to everybody who duetted it. Oh man, people would love to watch you like react to their verses. And so you could like screen share your laptop, show that you're watching it and like react to it.
Yeah. I would watch that, or even
that's a great idea.
You like creating a beat too. Like I'm gonna create a beat for Connor Price tonight. Watch it live on Twitch. I would watch that for sure.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
That's a great idea. Appreciate that. Yeah, I didn't even realize you started that too. So definitely gonna check it out.
I kept putting it off, because I've always been a big fan of video games and streaming, and I just decided to go for it. Bree was like, just do one stream. I'm like, I have no followers. No one's going to watch it. She's like, no, go live on TikTok. Like, there's ways to do this.
You have to, it's a funnel. All your social channels need to like be a cycle into each other.
Yeah. So definitely use TikTok to bring people to Twitch. I think you should do that. You would kill it. That's awesome.
Hey, appreciate it, dude. Yeah,
all right, so Twitch at the start of 2022.
Start of 2022.
Sorry, at the start of 2022.
Yeah, so plan on Twitch, building out like the Spotify under like my name, Matty Beats, featuring artists, doing the co-release thing. And I also have like a couple songs coming out I'm super hype on as well. Some with Justin Starling.
Love him.
This artist Outsider X, who kind of does like trap metal stuff, which
cool.
I'm also like super into, like edgy hard stuff like that. So like, some songs coming out I'm hype on that end. And then, I think just building my following and I definitely want to do more sample packs too, because a big part of my audience is producers and I've only put out, I think 2 sample packs so far. So I want to do like more stuff for the producers too.
What about NFTs? Have you thought about that at all? Because that's something we've been geeking out over in the last couple months.
Yeah, trying to learn more about.
Yeah, I had a call with a guy I think a couple of weeks ago about it, and I still like don't really understand NFTs like myself. So
I don't think anyone does, right? Everyone's still trying to figure it out.
But there's definitely like so much opportunity there, and I don't want to like be that guy that's like, oh, I missed out on it. So I want to figure out a way to like collaborate with an established like visual artist type of person. And then myself, and then like try to find, I don't know, like, I don't even know really how it works, but I would love to do that. Yeah, I just don't know really where to start, I guess.
Because based on our research, independent artists, and that includes producers, can make a killing with NFTs, and that's the future for music.
One thing that Justin Starling did, I don't know if you've been watching what he did in the NFT space, but it was absolutely brilliant, was he released, I don't know how many, I don't know if it was
three acapellas.
3 acapellas. And any producer that bought it had the rights to make a beat around it and then release the song. Like, if you bought the NFT, you now own that acapella and you can release it and tag him as a feature and use it. And you'll have produced a song for Justin, which is so smart.
That's so genius. And I've never seen anyone approach it that way either. Because like beat makers, we lease beats like to multiple people all the time. But like I've never seen anyone from like the rapper side be like, hey, I'm gonna like lease this acapella to you. You get the rights to use it. You can do, like, that's genius. Yeah.
Reverse engineering, so smart.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, we're excited to get into that, and maybe we can chat again in like 6 months from now. Maybe you'll have sold an NFT, maybe we'll have, and we can kind of like teach people who are interested in it on what we did and what we learned, because we're all still learning at the end of the day.
It's brand new.
Which is why we started this podcast. We're learning so much in the independent artist space. We want to talk to other artists, producers, writers, everything, and just teach everyone else, because there shouldn't be any gatekeeping in this industry, and I feel like there has been for so many years.
Teach and learn. I think that's the most fun part about these interviews.
We're still learning so much.
I'm learning so much, even just from this conversation. So, and thank you again for taking the time to do this. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me on.
Awesome. All right, tell everybody where they can find you, social media. What's your handles?
So it's Matty Beats, Matty Beats, plural, on Instagram. And then TikTok, Matty Beats Music. You can peep my whole catalog of beats on mattybeatsmusic.com. And I'm on YouTube and all that too. Just type in Matty Beats and you'll find it.
Awesome. Well, you got to send me some more stuff, man. We got to do another song together.
Yeah, facts.
Awesome.
I'll be waiting on your 2022 album too. I'm excited for that.
Good.
And Twitch.
Appreciate
we got to follow you on Twitch.
Yeah, likewise.
All right. Take it easy, man.
All right, thanks, guys.
The receipts? I don't wanna tell them how much money I'ma blow. I would rather show them when I pull up in that beam. I don't